So in our group's discussion on free will versus determinism, it seemed like everyone started out by pointing out like just how complicated of a subject that is and how it seems almost impossible to really answer the question of if we have free will or not. There's so much evidence on either side, and it's just such a complicated topic. What really stood out to me was a few people brought up instances where there were specific things that came up that inhibited someone's free will where there might have otherwise been some. So something like mental illness or substance use or a like physical trauma, brain damage, which is interesting because it brings up this idea that there could be free will, but there isn't, and what fills in that gap. Before reading through the discussion post, I really thought that I sided more with the idea of determinism, but I found myself more agreeing with the group's idea that it really seems to be like there's an overall pattern that we can vaguely identify and predict behavior, but when it really comes down to it, there's just way too much variability for it to make sense. Another thing that somebody pointed out that I thought was really interesting was a different look on determinism, which was that that it's not specifically that it's that the lack of free will isn't necessarily an unconscious thing, like that we really feel as though we don't have free will, like that we have the feeling of not being in control because of societal pressure or moral pressure and things like that. And I thought that was a really interesting view on it that I hadn't before considered.